Hi, hey y'all, come on in. We're gonna be talking about the Love Wins workshop. Come on in, y'all. Put my volume up. Just make sure this gets out too. Hey y'all. Let me just send this to Allison. We're gonna be talking about having a really good conversation today, and we're gonna be talking about the Love Wins workshop. How much fun is that? Hey you guys, come on in. I see some new names. Uh-oh. All right, there we go.
Yo, what up?
How are you, Chris?
Blessing and progressing. Every day above ground's a good one. How are you doing?
Listen, every day above ground is a good one indeed. So let's get started. I don't know. So, hey, you guys, welcome. Come on in. We are going to be having a hot topic. We're going to talk about whether or not love is enough. That is a very popular question that definitely flows around. It is a question that I've had in my mind from like 2017, where that was like the first time I ever thought about that question and was shocked that so many other people had the same question. And there's been a variety. Hey, Al. There've been a variety of conversations around what that's like. So we're going to start off by introducing ourselves. Once Allison gets in, she will introduce herself, and we're going to go ahead and get started. So I like to keep them interactive. I want to talk to you guys. I want to answer your questions. You are in the company of some well-seasoned coaches, okay? So you want to go ahead and ask your questions. There's an icon at the bottom that has a question mark. That's where you want to put your questions, okay? So that we can field them for you guys. So let me just see if I can add Allison, invite her to come on in. So I'm Cassandra. I go by Ask Miss Cassandra on Instagram. And hey, what's up, Al? I see you, girl. I was glossing on my lips as well. I cannot deal.
And they
Yes, you
fix my
guys.
life.
Yes, I am a relationship and a life coach, and I'm a men's advocate. I do work with women and men, but I do have a heart for men and men's issues. Specifically, I support men in terms of being able to identify their emotions, heal from their triggers and traumas, and establish boundaries. So that is myself. So go ahead, Chris, introduce yourself.
My name is Chris McBride. I'm a healing and mindset coach. I help people heal from unresolved childhood trauma, harmonize dysfunctional family dynamics, and master inner conflicts. And that pretty much sums me up.
Hello,
Awesome.
everyone. My name is Allison, certified dating and relationship coach. I primarily work with single, successful, professional women to help them be found by the partners that they deserve.
Awesome. All right, y'all. So if y'all have questions again, there is a question icon at the bottom. That's where I would like your questions to go. If you have comments, go ahead and put them inside of the chat. So I want to know for the room, how many of you guys have heard the question, is love enough? I just want to kind of get a baseline to see where we're at, how people are feeling. So what
Are you
about
talking
you
about the
guys,
coaches or are you talking about like just people in the audience?
the audience? And then
Oh, okay.
I'm asking y'all as well, but I want to kind of see like what the audience is feeling and thinking, whether or not they feel that love is enough. Hey, what's up, Davis? How are you? Is love enough? I want to know in the comments, do you think love is enough? I'll give a little bit of time because I know there's a lag on Instagram. Davis says, no, it isn't. All right, so I know that you guys have heard the question. Hey, what's up, Zay? What's up? So is love enough? Is love enough? So what do you guys think? Let me hear from you guys. Somebody said, I thought love was enough. Hey, what's up, Keith? He says, Allison and Chris, fire. Yes.
I think that's my
African Born
frat,
says,
if I'm not
yes, it's
mistaken. My
enough.
frat from IU.
Don't. A thing about Nikki, love is not enough. I wish I could have had a poll up in here. It should be, but it's a no. I like that. I like that. Um, D says, as I get older, it is not enough. No, but it is called a love plan. Okay, okay. Let me go ahead and pin this comment. Thank you so much, Allison, for that. All right, so let's go ahead and see what the coaches have to say. What do y'all think? Chris, what do you think? Is love enough?
Well, I think it's really the context that we speak of love. If people are talking about like the just infatuation feeling, then no, that's not enough. That's kind of like fleeting and that will just fade over time. But when we talk about love in the context of love being an actual choice that you make every single day, I think that is enough. So it really depends on the context that we're speaking of.
I like that. What about you, Al?
Yeah, I agree. I think that love can be enough if you are truly in love, meaning that if I am truly in love with my husband and there are other things that are lacking, poor communication, financial instability, whatever it is that's causing some kind of strife, if I love him, I'm going to do the work that's necessary to correct the behavior to get back on track. So I think
Yes.
the question is again very similar to what Chris said. It was just how are we defining love? And I do believe that there that love is on a spectrum, and if you love someone enough, then you will do what it takes. There's a lesson that my sister taught me when I was like 8 or 9 years old. So we're laying in bed, we watching TV. I don't know what we watching, probably The Box. We ain't have no cable, right? So we probably watching something for free.
Done.
You remember The Box?
I do.
Yeah, right. So we was watching something. I was like 7 or 8, I don't know, young, and I said, Sophia, I'm starving. Can you make me something to eat? She said, what? She's 3 years older than me. She said, what? I said, I'm starving. Can you make me something to eat? She said, something wrong with your legs? I said, no. She said, if you were really starving, you would get your ass up and you would get yourself something to eat. If you are
Damn.
really starving, you're not starving. You're not even hungry. You just want to nibble on something, right? That's why you asking me. If you are in love with someone, you would be
That's
willing
a
to
verse.
do what it takes to show up for them. Now, I say that within reason, right? I'm not talking about going against like your core morals and values, but if you're in love with someone who is worthy, you're gonna do what it takes to make it work.
I love that.
Facts.
That is
I
so,
agree.
that is so poignant. You wanna chime in on that, Chris? I feel like I cut you off.
Oh no, I was just saying that I agree with her. If you are like, if the love is real between somebody, you make the necessary adjustments. Now, to her point, you're not about to compromise your identity or your value systems for
Right.
somebody. So, like an example, if you're a person of faith, you're not about to just because I love you, not about to just give up my faith for you. So it's like we got non-negotiables, but our non-negotiables should really be a small list, maybe 3 to 5. Outside of that, everything else should be flexible. And outside of your non-negotiables, if you really love a person, you will make the necessary adjustments.
So my daughter's
I can't
crying.
hear
I
you.
just had to check up.
Okay, there you
No,
go.
I put myself on mute for a second because I heard my baby girl crying and I wanted to make sure she was okay. But yes, no, totally. Baby girl, if you need to come over here, you can. Okay, you okay?
Shout
All
out to
right,
the mothers, man, that prioritize motherhood. I'm loving it. Let's go.
come here, boo boo.
While I'm in
She's
here running into the bedroom, slamming the door in my baby face because she's trying to follow me. Come on, you need me. Come on
feel
over.
it,
Like, girl, bye.
y'all.
I gotta go live.
You want to sit right here? You want to sit right here? Yeah, I got you. She's in the middle of doing multiplication and division, and it's stressful. So she's having a hard time figuring it all out. So I told her she could finish up over there, but she just had a little meltdown. So y'all forgive me. But yes, so I totally
Are you good?
appreciate what you guys are touching upon. And I appreciate your take, Chris, because I know this is a point of conflict for a lot of people. They just feel like love is not enough. A coach who focuses on attachment theory. And one of the things that he said was there are certain things that you could instruct a person to do, but just because you give them the instruction to do it doesn't always mean that the outcome is experienced the same. So I'm going to give you the same example that he gave, which I thought was phenomenal. And for me, I feel like that's what the crux of the matter is when it comes to love. And so what he mentioned was that if you're at church, right, you know how on church or in any sort of like any event, they might have the welcoming team. And you can tell someone, hey, when people come through, say good morning, say hello, how are you? And let me see a ticket and show them which area to go. That can be the instruction. But the way a person effectively provides that instruction can vary, right? So you might have somebody that's like super serious and they're like, hey, what's up? How you doing? What's that guy, the food blogger now, Keith? He has that very robotic talking.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Right? So he might be like, hey, how are you? Come on inside. Have a seat. Let me see your ticket. I hope you enjoy the show. Versus somebody else who might be a bully And they might be like, hey, let me see you take a make sure that you're all right. And you know, you're gonna go right to the left, and they go above and beyond, right? So you can give the thing to do, but it doesn't mean that it comes out the same. That's how I feel about tools. So when I hear people on YouTube, or when I hear people, you know, in the society, in the world, talking about love, and they say that love is not enough, they'll usually say things like, you gotta have respect, you gotta have tools, you gotta have communication, you gotta have this, that, and third. You can have all of those things, but if you have not love, it's like you didn't do it at all. Mm-hmm. Right? You can have all those things. You can have all the tools in the world. You can be tooled up and down. Okay? You can have healthy communication up and down. But if that loving essence, if that compassion, if that sweetness isn't there, it feels very sterile, and it still takes away from the matter. So I too agree that love is enough. That's how I feel about it. And I feel like love is kind of like the conduit. It's like a catalyst, something that is attached to XYZ. People try to treat it like it's a point. And yeah, love all on its own, how can you experience it, right? Like it's that becomes like a spiritual space where it's hard to be felt. But where love resides, where there's love right there, whatever you're attaching it to, it'll be felt with love. And I feel like it makes a difference. What do y'all think about that?
Allison, I'll let you go.
Yeah, no, I think we're in agreement. We're in absolute agreement. We're in alignment when it comes to these things. So I think that the conversation really needs to come to, and I applaud Reginald who asked, "What is love?" And I feel like that's such a complicated question. So
Mm-hmm.
I respectfully, I'm throwing it to Chris because I ain't got the answer. So go ahead, Chris. I'll just let you go.
I mean, I think it really just depends on the person, and we all just got to ask it because to what Cassandra was saying earlier, it's like what love is to me could be different for what love is for you. And I think that just having these conversations with the person that you're attracted to early on and how that is actually going to be manifested is of key is important. Just same thing like what is trust, because what trust is to one person could be completely different to what trust is to another person. So I don't think that there is just like a cookie cutter answer. I think there is just finding what I feel the bird's eye view of what love is just effort, is just that willingness to control myself. So to your point, I'll make the necessary adjustments as opposed to if I don't really got love for you, then I'm not about to make the necessary adjustments. I'm not about to control myself. If I know that an elevated voice triggers you and all that, and I ain't got love for you, I'm not about to be monitoring my tone. But if the love is there for you, even if I'm a naturally animated person, but I know that that triggers you, if the love is there, I'm gonna be mindful of that every time that I'm in communication with you. It's not saying that I won't have error because we're human, but it is saying that the effort will always be there if love is present. So to
Yeah,
me, it's not necessarily a cookie cutter example or a definition for it. It's just more so acted out. It's an action.
absolutely. Why do you think people are so afraid of love?
Shit, past trauma
Why do
that
you
they
think?
ain't healed from.
Facts. That was
And
simple.
then also, it don't even got to be past trauma that they've witnessed. It's the horror stories that we hear growing up. It's our parents putting the fear into us. You know, we
Ooh,
younger and we like, yo, I got love, and they tell you, no, you gonna, don't do that now. No, I'm telling you, this ain't gonna work. Or just wait till you get a little older. You'll see. Just they're constantly just negative reinforcements. Then, like what me and Allison talked about on the past live, where all these TV shows or all this social media or all these media examples just showing failed relationships or people cheating or people not being trustworthy, and it's like we take that into our own experience, and that's what kind of causes us to actually have fear. It's just failure and then just fear, honestly.
yeah. Totally. What about you, Alison? Why do you like? What do you see is going on in like your coaching? Are women afraid to love? Are they afraid to be in relationships? Are they trying to like jump into it? What's your experience been with the ladies
Yeah,
that you
and
work
you
with?
said it exactly. It's fear. It's I've given myself to this person, a person before, and they've dropped the ball. They've broken my heart, and so it is a risk for me to put myself out there again. And so I need to decide whether or not this is worth the risk. But I'll tell you this, and I cuss about it on the back end, and then I just talk junk about it on the front end. But in the reality is you just have to do a risk assessment. Like this thing is a lot more simple than we like to make it, right? So do
Okay.
a risk assessment. It have you decided that this is too risky for me, therefore, ergo, I'm gonna stay alone. And if that's the case, cool. Right? Or have you decided that this thing that you've decided to love, affection, attention, support, camaraderie, the family, like are those things worth the risk? Now you can also tie your bets. So it's going to be, okay, well, I'm going to take this risk, but this time I'm going to be more strategic about it. Perhaps I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
read some books. I'm going to go to therapy. I'm going to hire a coach. So I'm going to apply some strategy to my approach this time. But whatever it is that you decide, just decide. So I got to tell you, I am annoyed by I just want my peace. Well, if you want your peace, then why are you following my page and Chris's page, right? And Cassandra's page, and you following Siobhan, and you following Mac, and you following, and you come on now. You don't just want you want to figure out how
Yeah.
you can hedge your bets. How can I be more careful the next time around? But stop saying I don't really need a man, I don't really need a woman. If you saying that, you do, because the people who don't need don't talk
Right.
about it.
Right.
And most of
Absolutely.
the looking for perfection, man, the same effort. They want this person.
Yeah. Right.
They want this person to be healed, want this person to be all together, but they're not trying to hold themselves to that same standard. And I think that is another issue as well. If people put more energy into fixing and healing and addressing all the limiting beliefs that they have within themselves, the unresolved
Yeah.
past trauma from past relationships, because making the person in your present pay for the mistakes of the person in your past equals a future with no one. And a lot of times we just bring our baggage into a relationship and we project our past fears, our past failures, our past hurts onto this person that's in front of us, and they just become an object of displacement. And really, we're not even dating them. So once we get triggered, we're not even hearing what they got to say. We're projecting what this person in the past said, what happened in this
Yeah.
last situation. And a lot of times we keep recycling situations over and over again because of those unresolved situations. So if we could just learn to, instead of just demanding this person have perfection, learn to just strive for that within myself, I think we'll start to see better and attract better as well.
Mhm.
Which is not
Yes.
unreasonable, right, Chris? Like, it's not unreasonable to use your experiences as a compass in how you decide the
Yeah.
next time around. That's actually intelligent. That's wisdom, right? So I'm going to use my past experiences to avoid pain. If I know every time I cross the street and don't look twice, I got hit by a car, the next time I'm gonna look twice before I cross the street so I don't get hit by a car. That's not unreasonable. What's unreasonable is saying to go outside again. I didn't look both ways. I got hit by a car. No, you apply strategy, apply logic, apply reason, and don't make an extreme thing. I'm never gonna date again because there was two guys who broke your heart. Once when you were 17, the other time you were 27. Like, come on. And you're not gonna take into account how many people heart you broke because you ain't interested in this neither. Like that's where the issue comes in. So it's not unreasonable for you to use your experiences to then as a driving force to how you make decisions moving forward. But you have to be reasonable and fair about it. The reasonable and fair thing is I'm not gonna never cross the street. Reasonable fair is I'm gonna look twice before I cross the street again. Reasonable and fair is I'm gonna make sure I have my glasses on before I go outside because I know I'm blind as a bat. Logic and right. So that's what we're talking about. It's hedging your bets. What am I going to do differently? Because one of the biggest issues is that folks are not doing things differently. We need to start applying more logic and reason to our romantic.
I agree. And we got to, when you were talking in our past as a compass, we got to look at it as an objective form and not, like she said, emotionally, because that's where is bringing our emotions. It's like, no times like, for instance, when I talked about elevation of voice, if a woman, let's just say she was abused in the past or something like that, if a dude elevates his voice, she could project abuse and actually use the words abuse over and like, there's actually women that's abused out here. Like that's not, an elevated voice is not abuse. And that's more so what I mean, where it's like we project past experiences onto our current experiences, and we have a malfunctioning compass in a sense because we're turning like it's almost like when they do the exercise when they're like close your eyes and remember everything in the room that was red, and
Yeah.
then you start naming things that's pink and that's orange and all these other wording what actually is to fit what you're looking for. And it's like, no, that's actually pink. That's not red. So like, let's literally just focus on
Mm-hmm.
the things that's red. But our resolved wounds will have us turning every goddamn thing in our room red.
Well said.
Fact.
And,
Matter of fact,
Cassandra, you
in
having
the
a little bit of.
comments,
Go
go
ahead.
ahead,
It's
Al.
better now. You have a little bit of a connection issue.
Okay, I was saying, why don't y'all in the comments put down some red flags? Say if it's a red flag, a yellow flag, or a green flag, because we're talking about, you mentioned something about like looking in a room and looking at what's red and identifying them as, something that was pink and thinking that it was red. And I also find that sometimes people kind of mix up their flags a bit. They mix up their green flags and mix the yellow flags and mix the red. They just put so many things together and it's all over the place. So I'm just kind of curious in the room. What do y'all think are some red flags or some yellow flags or a green flag? Whatever you feel like you want to mention so we can kind of like just rock out with you guys. Gotta face the man in the mirror, like Michael Jackson says. That's what All About Nikki said. Absolutely. Gotta face. And I think like that's, Davis says, don't put up walls, set boundaries. I like that, Davis. That's a really good one. Really good one. Yeah, I feel like to y'all's point, that people are looking for a parent and not a partner sometimes, right? Like when we think about our partners, parents rather, we're looking for them to be the be all end all. They're our hero, they're perfect, right? Everything that they must do, it must be on point. They cannot have a slip up. They cannot be human. There always comes that point in time, at some point in our when we're graduating through our childhood into teenage years, where we really start to face the music that, oh my gosh, my parent is 100% human being, right? But
Mm-hmm.
prior to that, there are these heightened expectations that they're performatives. You know what I'm saying?
Multiple when he says that at times.
Cassandra, you're going in and out a little bit. I think your connection. I don't know if you're connected to Wi-Fi or if you're not. If you
Oh,
are, maybe disconnect and just use your
That tend to lean towards femininity, meaning being more expressive with your emotions, potentially being more talkative. But then when that woman is expressive with her emotions or she's quote unquote too talkative, it's a problem. Well, you said you want a feminine woman. Those are some of the behaviors that tend to align, right? Or a masculine man. You say that you want a masculine man. He's straightforward. He's model. He's going to come that as an issue. So I think that Cassandra's on the money in terms of having an expectation from your partner of perfection. And that's what we mean by perfection. We don't mean like an actual human being makes no mistakes. By perfection, I think
mm-hmm.
Cassandra's talking about someone who can be everything for you, like how your mom and your
Yeah.
dad is everything, right? So you expect your mom to feed, to be your therapist when we're younger, to be our therapists, to be our chauffeurs. They're the ATM. They're gonna be like they're everything to us because that's who they are, right? That's who they have to be. You know, Cassandra's here working on the live, and at the same time, she's hugging and consoling her child. Like that's the expectation. But when you're in a romantic relationship, that cannot be the expectation. There are roles and responsibilities for everybody. Your girlfriends, your guy friends have their role and their responsibility. Your parents have another one. Your colleagues at work have another one. And my husband's not my colleague at work. So he may not want to hear every single conflict going on the job, right? And it doesn't mean that I'm holding back from him, but I'm reading the room. You got to read the room. You have different friends and have different relationships for different things. And when you hedge your expectations of people, that's going to make you a lot happier moving forward. They didn't
facts.
say
Totally.
Perfectly
Did
said.
y'all catch
not.
the question below by Subby in the city? Do
We
y'all
didn't
see that?
discuss what
The
we
question?
now.
Okay, okay. Because I want to make sure, because then we got like 5 minutes left. But Subby in the city says, why would a man keep the relationship going if he knows he's not going to marry anyone or live with you? Chris, you want to take that?
I mean, I think it's the same situation as far as why would a woman stay with a man when he's clearly not showing signs that he actually wants to marry you or wants to progress with you. It's just people we talked about this on a previous live. There you got different types of guys. You got different types of women. You got the ones that want family and want to be serious, and you got the ones that just want to have fun and just want to date and just want to sex and just want to go out and just vices and all that stuff. Those two are not the same. And so, and another issue is that you can't try to change a person. So one of my female clients hit me up the other day and she was just like, what if I keep trying to help my man earn more money and all that stuff like that, and he just doesn't seem to want to do anything. And I'm like, I mean, well, shit, if that's the super thing that's important to you, you need to find somebody that just has that desire already. Like, because you about to just resent this guy because inevitably he's not about to do it because he doesn't want to do it. That's not what he wants. That's not what
Right.
he's on. That's not his standards. And so you just got to find a person that's actually aligned with you and not have a scarcity mindset where you're just afraid of, okay, I got something, again, I'm looking for red, but I got something that's pink, so I'm going to try to turn it red. No, because it ultimately is just going to result in you resenting that person, you wasting time, you wasting energy, you developing more trauma. And so we got to have the self-love and the self-confidence and the courage to actually remain patient for what we're actually wanting. I always tell my male clients, to determine your mate from heaven. So imagine like God comes down and he created like the perfect mate for you. Now, again, don't list off 30 qualities of this person, but what would be the 5 top qualities that made this person a mate from heaven for you? Then imagine the devil came down and made the mate from hell. Like, so these are like the top 5 qualities that under no circumstance you ain't tolerating under no circumstance. So now you know what you are avoiding and you know what you are actually looking for. And I always tell them it's like bus stops. Like if you get on one bus, then you automatically cancel out the opportunity of catching the right bus. If you're just entertaining this person on this bus and then your mate from heaven comes, they say every 15 minutes. Then your mate from heaven comes the next, you already on another bus entertaining somebody else, occupying somebody else, you sexually involved with this other person, you're mentally and emotionally connected and involved with this person. You might miss your actually mate from heaven because you ain't got the patience to just sit your butt at that bus stop until what you're actually looking for shows up. But also, it ain't even about just knowing what you want and knowing what you're avoiding. It's also who you got to become to attract and sustain your
Right.
mate from heaven, because they got a mate from heaven too. So
Right.
you got to match that and you got to be able to fulfill that. So again, it's not just about just, oh, I want this Prince Charming or I want this Princess Charming or whatever they call that. But it's about who I got to become as well. And if you focus on who you got to become, like attracts like, and water always seeks its own level.
I love that. Listen, you guys, if you guys want more content like this, if you want your questions directly answered, if you need strategy, today's world is a hybrid of traditionalism, modern day things, because we're all looking for this transcendent love. It's not what our fathers, grandfathers did in the 1960s, what our grandparents did in the 1960s, does not quite translate to 2023 and 2023 and beyond, okay? So a lot of people are very confused. They're very flustered. They're trying to grab information and other people's experiences. They're trying to borrow other people's experiences and transplant them to their lives, even if they're not the character of the person that was able to carry out that kind of a relationship, right? You want this faithful person, you want this partner that's going to just meet you where you're at, but because you're looking at what your grandparents had, but your grandparents had a plan. So it's easy for submission to happen. Leadership is easy when you know where you're going. Submission is easier to provide when you're being, and you want this person to be a leader or you want this person to be submissive, but you lack those characteristics and the qualities to carry this out. So you're merging a lot of traditionalism into modern day times, and now you're feeling stuck because it's become a Frankenstein of a relationship that mumbles and fumbles and moves real weird, and nothing is smooth sailing because it's not authentic. In order for you to really be able to explore your authentic self, you need strategy. You want to be around seasoned coaches like myself, Imani, who couldn't make it here today, Allison, Chris. We are here. We are seasoned coaches that we support and guide you to help you figure out and discern who you are and what you're going to attract based on who you are, what your attachments are like, how your brain is operating, how you're functioning emotionally. That's my part. And Allison gives you concrete tools and skills on ground level. So if you're interested in these things, we ask you to go ahead and click the link in any one of our bios for the Love Wins workshop. Y'all know when it's at? Mañana is tomorrow at 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. We're having the Love. If love was a loss, nobody we'll be talking about that right now. Love and relationships is dominating the airwaves right now. I don't care if you're on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, conversations, and cuffing season, it's dominated. It's important. It's crucial. One of the things that Allison said that was so important, and I never forgot it, I heard her say it years ago, is how could you not want to invest in your love life? That is one of the single most important investments you can make in your life. Your love life, the person that you say I do to, affects your career, it affects your emotional stability, it affects your legacy, it affects wealth accumulation. It's just connected to so many different factors. You can't afford to not be at the Love Wins workshop. You cannot almost afford to go at this love thing without some support and guidance. So if you're interested, go ahead and click the link in any one of our bios so that you can be present and get your questions fielded and answered directly just for you. Anything y'all want to say before we close out? I feel like y'all froze.
Yeah, the internet provider hating over there a little bit. Allison, it's on you.
Yeah, me and Chris is lit. You the froze one. We gotta make sure we fix it for tomorrow.
Oh man,
Yeah, I know, right?
and married a
This,
woman knowing
I
good
feel like
and well that
I
he
feel like
didn't love
Instagram's
her.
been jacking up for a while. What'd you say? What'd you say,
Yeah.
Chris?
All right,
Facts.
lovely. We will see you tomorrow on Zoom, 7 p.m. Eastern. Love Wins virtual masterclass. Links in our bio. See you there.
Yeah, see y'all. Bye,
Yeah, I
y'all.
see ya.